The massive Azurian Imperial fleet appeared suddenly at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50 huge warships moved silently through space, their dark metal hulls absorbing starlight. On the main bridge of the biggest ship called Eternal Dominance Grand Admiral Tejo stood tall, his 4 arms crossed behind his back as he watched the main screen. Earth looked small and blue from this distance. Tejo's yellow eyes narrowed as he studied it. "Scan complete, Admiral," said Science Officer Juu, her thin fingers moving quickly across her control panel. "The planet shows signs of basic technology only. They use nuclear power plants. Their spacecraft use chemical fuel. They have never left their own solar system." Tejo's mouthparts clicked together. This was how Azurians showed pleasure. "Excellent. The Emperor will be pleased with this new addition to our territories." The Azurian Empire had conquered 32 planets in the last 50 years. Earth would be number 33. The process was always the same. Arrive, demand surrender, crush any resistance, and take control. None had successfully fought back. "They divide themselves into many small countries," reported Communications Officer Dury. "They fight among themselves often. Their weapons are primitive. Their most powerful bombs would not even damage our smallest ship's shields." Tejo walked around the circular command center, looking at the data screens. The humans were varied in appearance, but all shared the same basic body structure. They lived short lives. They spent much of their time arguing with each other. "Perfect targets," Tejo said. "Send the standard greeting message." On Earth, people were going about their normal day when every electronic device suddenly changed. TV screens, phone displays, computer monitors, and radio stations all broadcast the same message. "People of Earth, your world is now property of the Azurian Empire. Your resources belong to us. Your people will serve us. Surrender immediately or face extinction. You have 3 Earth days to prepare for our arrival." The message played in every human language. It showed images of other planets being destroyed when they resisted. It ended with a countdown timer. Panic spread across Earth. People rushed to stores for supplies. Some fled cities. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Government leaders held emergency meetings. But no one knew what to do against an enemy with such advanced technology. At the Korea Advanced Institute of Science, Dr. Minji Park worked alone in her laboratory. While other scientists had gone home to their families, Minji stayed with her equipment. As one of Earth's top astrophysicists, she hoped she might find something useful. For hours, she examined the sensor data from observatories around the world. All showed the massive alien ships just beyond Mars' orbit. But Minji noticed something strange in the readings. "Wait," she said to herself, leaning closer to her screen. "That can't be right." She ran the numbers again. The energy readings from the alien ships showed regular patterns, tiny fluctuations that repeated every 3.7 seconds. Most scientists had dismissed these as instrument errors, but Minji recognized them as something else. "It's not random," she whispered, quickly typing calculations into her computer. "Their shield systems have a rhythm." She worked through the night, analyzing every piece of data. By morning, she had filled 3 notebooks with equations and diagrams. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but excitement kept her going. The alien ship's shield technology used energy that pulsed in a specific pattern, and where there was a pattern, there might be a weakness. Minji picked up her phone and called her old college friend who now worked for the military. "Jin, I need to talk to someone in command right away. I think I found something important about the alien ships." "What is it?" Jin asked. "Their shields have a frequency pattern. If we hit them with the right counter frequency at exactly the right moment, we might be able to disrupt them. I need more equipment to test my theory." Jin was silent for a moment. "I'll send a team to bring you in. If you're right, this could be Earth's only chance." Meanwhile, in orbit, Grand Admiral Tejo watched Earth's military scramble into defensive positions. His staff prepared invasion plans, analyzing the best targets for first strikes. The humans are organizing some kind of resistance, reported Tactical Officer Sunwoo with amusement. How quaint. Tahoe nodded. They always try to fight back at first. It will make their surrender all the more satisfying. Little did he know that in a small laboratory in Korea, a tired scientist had just discovered the first potential weakness in Azurian technology in over a century. The faces of world leaders on the emergency United Nations broadcast looked pale and tense. They had gathered quickly after the alien ultimatum, and now the large screen in front of them showed Grand Admiral Tahoe's imposing figure. His forearms were held in a formal position, and his yellow eyes seemed to look directly at each person watching. "You have 72 hours to surrender your world," Tahoe announced, his voice translated into Earth languages. "Your military leaders will meet with my representatives to arrange the transfer of power. All weapons must be surrendered. All resources now belong to the Azurian Empire." A brave diplomat asked, "And if we refuse?" Tahoe's mouth parts clicked together. "Resistance is futile, and will only result in unnecessary suffering. We have conquered 32 worlds. Some surrendered wisely. Others fought and were destroyed. The choice is yours." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the room in silence before chaos erupted. Arguments broke out immediately. Some leaders wanted to surrender to save lives. Others insisted humanity should fight even against impossible odds. Outside the meeting, people worldwide watched with fear. In cities, some rioted and looted stores. Others prayed in churches, temples, and mosques. Many families packed their cars and drove to remote areas, hoping to escape whatever came next. Military bases buzzed with activity as soldiers prepared for battle. Fighter jets took off for patrol missions, ships put to sea. But the mood was grim. Everyone knew their weapons were like toys compared to what the aliens possessed. At a secret military facility outside Seoul, Dr. Minji Park was escorted through security checkpoints. Dark circles showed under her eyes, but determination kept her moving. She carried 3 notebooks filled with calculations and a hard drive with her data. In a conference room, she found Navy Commander Hyuk waiting. They had been close friends in university before their careers took different paths. Now he wore a crisp uniform with commander insignia. "Minji," he said, standing to greet her, "I hope you have something good. The military leaders are ready to hear your findings." "I do," she said, connecting her hard drive to the room's computer system. "Look at this data from our deep space observatories." Graphs and numbers appeared on the screen. Minji pointed to a repeating pattern in the energy readings. "Their shield technology operates on a resonance frequency that might be vulnerable to specific disruptions," she explained. "Their shields pulse in this exact pattern. If we can create a counterpulse at precisely the right moment, we might disrupt their entire defense system." Hyuk studied the data carefully. He had always trusted Minji's brilliant mind, but this seemed too simple. "Are you certain?" he asked, reviewing her calculations. "Their technology is thousands of years ahead of ours." Minji nodded firmly. Advanced technology often has basic principles at its core. Think of it like pushing a swing. If you push at the wrong time, nothing happens. But if you push at exactly the right moment, even a small force can create a big effect. She pulled up more data. "I'm certain enough to bet Earth's survival on it." Before Hyuk could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. An officer burst into the room. "The aliens are attacking an island in the Pacific," he shouted. They rushed to the command center where screens showed satellite images of a small uninhabited island. A beam of intense light shot down from one of the Azurian ships. The island glowed bright white for a moment, then vanished completely, leaving only steam rising from the ocean. "They're showing us what they can do," someone whispered in horror. Hyuk stared at the screen. But unlike the others, he noticed something important. "Wait," he said. "All our satellites are still recording. We're getting readings of their weapons in action." He turned to Minji. "Can your team analyze this data too? It might show us more weaknesses." Already on it, she said, downloading the information to her system. Within hours, Cook presented Minji's findings to a global military council meeting online. Generals and admirals from dozens of countries listened intently. Their demonstration was meant to frighten us, Cook explained. But they're also showing us exactly how their technology works. Dr. Park has identified a potential weakness in their shield systems, and now we have data on their weapons too. An American general frowned. You expect us to believe their advanced shields have a simple weakness. Even the most complex technology can have basic vulnerabilities, Minji replied. Remember how Earth's most advanced computer systems were once vulnerable to simple viruses. She showed them her plan to build devices that could emit precisely timed energy pulses to disrupt the alien shields. We can use our existing satellite networks, radio telescopes, and other infrastructure to create a global disruption field, she explained. But we need to work together. Every country must contribute. A Chinese general nodded slowly. For the first time in history, humanity has a common enemy. We have less than 70 hours, Hyuk reminded everyone. Let's get to work. As the meeting ended, Minji looked out a window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, Admiral Taeho was probably watching Earth, confident in his coming victory. She hoped he was in for a surprise. The timer on screens worldwide reached 0. The 72-hour deadline had expired. Across Earth, people held their breath, waiting for what would come next. It didn't take long. 5 Azurian warships descended through the atmosphere, heading toward major cities. Behind them came hundreds of smaller fighter craft, sleek and deadly. All units engage according to plan, ordered the Unified Earth Defense Command. For the first time in history, all nations fought as one. Fighter jets from countries that had been enemies just days before now flew side by side. They approached the alien craft in formations that seemed random and chaotic. Inside his cockpit, Korean Air Force pilot Juno felt sweat dripping down his back despite the cooling system. His squadron approached a group of Azurian fighters at high speed. Remember, be unpredictable, Junho told his pilots. Do not follow standard combat patterns. The alien ships fired energy weapons that could cut through metal like paper, but they kept missing. The human pilots flew in ways that made no tactical sense, turning when they should flee, diving when they should climb, splitting up when they should group together. Aboard the Azurian command ship, Grand Admiral Taeho watched in growing anger as reports came in. How are they hitting us? He demanded, his mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. How are they adapting so quickly? His tactical officer looked confused. Their maneuvers make no sense. Admiral, they're flying against all logical battle tactics. Our computers cannot predict their movements. On a screen, they watched as a human fighter deliberately flew toward an Azurian energy beam, then rolled away at the last possible moment, causing the beam to hit another alien ship. Impossible. Tahoe slammed his fist down. Send in the ground forces. Take their command centers. Meanwhile, in an underground laboratory, Dr. Minji Park hadn't slept in days. Her hair was messy, and empty coffee cups surrounded her workstation. Scientists from 20 countries worked alongside her, communicating through translators when needed. They had captured an Azurian scout ship during an early skirmish. The small craft had crashed in a rural area, and special forces had secured it before the aliens could destroy it. Minji aimed her prototype device at the ship's shield generator. The device looked simple, just a modified satellite dish connected to equipment assembled from parts around the world. Ready, she said, nodding to her team. Activating disruptor in 3, 2, 1. The dish emitted waves of energy that matched the exact opposite pattern of the alien shields. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a flash of light, the scout ship's shields flickered and collapsed completely. Minji stared in disbelief for a second before joy overwhelmed her. It works, she exclaimed, jumping up and down. Their entire fleet has the same vulnerability. She immediately called Commander Hook. We did it. The disruptor works. We need to build as many as possible and distribute them worldwide. In another facility, an Azurian officer sat in an interrogation room. He had been captured when his ground transport crashed. Unlike Admiral Tayo, this officer had only 2 arms and blue-tinted skin, a lower rank in their society. The alien looked confused as human investigators asked questions in a language his translator could understand. "Why do you not surrender?" the Azurian asked. "It would be the logical choice against a superior force." "Humans don't always do what's logical," explained the interrogator. "We value freedom more than safety sometimes." The Azurian's eyes blinked rapidly. "Your species behaves irrationally. During the air battle, your pilots use tactics that make no strategic sense. Our tactical systems cannot predict your actions." He paused, seeming troubled. "This has never happened before." The interrogator leaned forward with interest. "Your battle computers rely on predicting enemy movements." "Of course," the Azurian replied as if it were obvious. "All advanced civilizations follow optimal battle strategies. But your pilots, they do things no rational being would do." This information was immediately shared with Earth Defense Command. Human unpredictability. What the Azurians saw as irrationality was actually an advantage. Back in the air battle, Shunho's fighter took a hit to its wing. Warning lights flashed in his cockpit, but he kept flying. He had managed to lead 3 alien fighters away from a population center. "This is Red Leader," he radioed. "I've got 3 on my tail, executing Crazy Ivan maneuver." He suddenly cut his engines, letting his jet fall from the sky. The alien shot past him, unable to react quickly enough. As his jet tumbled, Shunho restarted his engines and fired at the confused aliens, destroying one before they could turn around. On the ground, the first large-scale disruptors were being activated, built using Minji's design. These devices targeted the Azurian warships hovering over cities. When the disruptors activated, the massive ships suddenly became vulnerable. Their shields failed, and Earth's missiles, previously useless, now struck with devastating effect. For the first time since the invasion began, hope spread across Earth. The aliens could be hurt. They could be stopped. And most importantly, they had underestimated humanity's greatest strength, their ability to do the unexpected. Grand Admiral Tejo stared at his tactical display in disbelief as more red warning symbols appeared. "Impossible," he whispered. "How can primitives defeat us?" He didn't yet understand that he wasn't fighting just Earth's technology. He was fighting the human spirit. The modified space shuttle floated silently through space, its engines running at minimal power. Inside, Commander Guk looked at the 7 soldiers from 7 different countries who made up his strike team. They wore experimental spacesuits designed for combat, with weapons attached to magnetic holsters. "This is insanity," Huck muttered, checking the small device strapped to his arm. The shield disruptor was Minji's latest version, more powerful than the earlier models. "Sir," asked Da, his second in command. "I said this is insanity," Huck repeated louder. "We're 8 humans in a modified shuttle about to attack an alien warship with thousands of crew members." "Yes, sir," Da grinned. "Completely insane. The aliens will never expect it." That was the whole point. According to their captured Azurian officer, the aliens couldn't comprehend or predict irrational actions. Their entire military strategy depended on enemies behaving logically. So Earth had decided to be as illogical as possible. Through the shuttle's windows, they could see the massive Azurian command ship, the Eternal Dominance Asterisk. It was huge, nearly 2 kilometers long, with weapons ports along its hull. Around it, a major space battle was happening. Earth had launched every spacecraft it could modify for combat, from military satellites to research vessels with hastily attached weapons. "Approaching target," reported their pilot. "The battle is providing good cover. Their sensors are focused on the larger threats." Tuck nodded. "Activate stealth systems." The shuttle's experimental stealth technology, developed in just 3 days by combining technologies from 5 countries, made them nearly invisible to alien sensors. They approached the giant ship from below, where fewer weapons were positioned. Everyone ready? Huck asked. His team nodded, faces serious behind their helmet visors. Back on Earth, the coordinated counterattack was underway. Disruptor stations on every continent activated simultaneously, targeting Azurian ships in orbit and in the atmosphere. Missiles that had been quickly modified with new guidance systems launched from submarines, ground batteries, and aircraft. The Azurians, expecting Earth to surrender after their initial assault, were completely unprepared for the ferocity of the human response. Their battle computers, programmed to fight against logical enemies, failed to predict the seemingly random attack patterns. Human fighter pilots flew directly at alien energy weapons, veering away at the last second. Nuclear submarines surfaced in unexpected locations to fire missiles, then disappeared again. Soldiers used simple radio equipment to create false signals that confused alien sensors. Aboard the Eternal Dominance Grand Admiral Teo watched in growing horror as his carefully organized fleet broke apart under the chaotic human assault. "How is this happening?" he demanded, his voice rising. "They're primitives. Their technology is centuries behind ours." His officers had no answers. The tactical displays showed Azurian ships being damaged or destroyed across Earth's orbit. The battle plans that had worked perfectly on 32 other worlds were failing here. "Sir, we've detected a small craft approaching our position," reported his tactical officer suddenly, pointing to a small blip on the sensor screen. Tahoe clicked his mandibles in dismissal. "Impossible. No human vessel could penetrate our—" His words stopped abruptly as the entire bridge was plunged into darkness. The lights flickered, then returned dimmer than before. Emergency alarms began to sound. "What happened?" Tahoe demanded. "Our shields. They failed completely," the officer replied in disbelief. On the underside of the massive ship, Huck's team had attached their shuttle to an access port designed for maintenance drones. The disruptor on their shuttle, activated at full power, had caused the shield failure. "Breach successful," reported Da as the airlock cycled open. "We're in." The team entered the alien ship with weapons ready. They had studied the layout from the captured scout ship, but this vessel was much larger. Still, the basic design principles were similar. "Remember the plan," Huck said as they moved through dimly lit corridors. "Plant the disruptors at the 4 key points. Then get back to the shuttle." They encountered the first Azurians at a junction of corridors. The aliens were tall, with 4 arms and insect-like features. They carried energy weapons but seemed confused by the human attack. "Down!" Huck shouted as energy blasts scorched the wall behind them. His team took cover and returned fire. The battle lasted only seconds. The Azurians fell quickly, unused to close-quarters combat. Huck realized another advantage. The aliens had conquered so many worlds easily that their actual combat experience was limited. The team split into pairs as planned, each heading toward different critical systems of the ship. Huck and Dai headed for the main control center. "This way," Huck said, following the map displayed inside his helmet. They moved quickly, encountering more resistance as they went deeper into the ship. Alarms blared continuously. The Azurians were now aware of the intruders, but seemed unable to coordinate an effective response. Their communications were disrupted, and their automated security systems had been designed to fight logical enemies. After 15 intense minutes of fighting, Huck and Dai reached the entrance to the bridge. 2 final disruptors remained in their packs. "Plant the disruptors," Huck ordered as they prepared to breach the door. "Let's show these aliens why you don't mess with Earth." The small devices attached to the wall, their lights blinking as they powered up. When activated, they would not only disrupt shields but also disable the ship's main power systems. "Ready?" Huck asked, positioning himself by the door control. Day nodded, her weapon aimed and ready. "For Earth," Huck said, and hit the door control. The remaining Azurian ships broke orbit in a disorganized rush, their neat formation completely shattered. From Earth's surface, people watched as bright flashes lit up the night sky, the engines of alien vessels fleeing at maximum speed. On the captured command ship Eternal Dominance Grand Admiral Tejo sat in restraints, his 4 arms bound securely. His yellow eyes showed confusion more than anger. Across from him, Commander Cook studied the alien leader with curiosity. "I do not understand," Tejo said finally. "How did you defeat us? Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are basic. This has never happened before." "You made a mistake," Cook explained simply. "You thought technology was everything. You forgot about the human spirit." Meanwhile, scientists from around the world swarmed over the captured alien vessels. 7 Azurian ships had been taken intact, including the massive flagship. Dr. Minji Park led the research team examining the propulsion systems. "This is amazing," she told her colleagues as they studied the faster-than-light drive. "With this technology, we can reach other star systems in days instead of the thousands of years it would take with our current rockets." In the Azurian Empire's capital world, 40 light-years from Earth, the Imperial Council gathered for an emergency meeting. The council chamber was filled with high-ranking Azurians, their skin colors showing their different ranks and positions. "This defeat is unprecedented," reported the head council member, her voice grave. "No species has ever repelled a full invasion force. The humans not only defeated our fleet but captured our vessels, including Admiral Tejo's command ship." "How is this possible?" asked another council member. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. They used unpredictable tactics our systems could not analyze," explained the military advisor. "And somehow, they discovered a weakness in our shield systems that no one has found before." The council sat in silent shock. For 300 years, the Azurian Empire had expanded without serious resistance. Now, a seemingly primitive species had humbled their greatest fleet. "We must prepare for defense," the head council member decided. "If humans master our technology, they may seek revenge." On Earth, the mood was very different. Cities that had been damaged in the fighting now held massive celebrations. For the first time in human history, all countries had worked together against a common threat, and won. In Seoul, a huge parade honored the heroes of the conflict. Dr. Minji Park and Commander Hyuk rode in an open vehicle, waving to cheering crowds. Neither was comfortable with the attention, but they understood what they represented to people: hope and the triumph of human ingenuity. "What will you do now?" Hyuk asked Minji as they waved to the crowd. She smiled. "Keep working. We have so much to learn from their technology. What about you?" "They asked me to command Earth's first interstellar ship," he said. "Would you like to come along as Chief Science Officer?" 6 months later, the progress was remarkable. With captured Azurian technology, humans had advanced centuries in just half a year. Clean energy-powered cities, new medical devices saved countless lives, and in orbit around Earth, the first human interstellar vessel neared completion. The ship, named Unity had been built using modified Azurian vessels. It combined the best of alien technology with human innovation. Unlike Azurian ships, which were designed for conquest, Unity was built for exploration and diplomacy. 1 year after the invasion, Unity prepared for its maiden voyage. Commander Hyuk stood on the bridge, now wearing the uniform of the newly formed Earth Space Force. Dr. Minji Park worked at the science station, running final checks on the ship's systems. "All systems ready," she reported. "The modified drive is performing better than expected." Hyuk nodded and addressed the multinational crew. "Today we make history. We will be the first humans to travel beyond our solar system. Our mission is to establish contact with other civilizations, but on our terms, not as victims or subjects." The Unity departed Earth to the cheers of billions watching on screens worldwide. Its faster-than-light drive activated, and the stars blurred as the ship jumped to speeds once thought impossible. Across the galaxy, news of the Azurian defeat had spread quickly. On the planet Nivi, home to a federation of peaceful species, the Galactic Council held an urgent session to discuss the emergence of humans on the interstellar stage. Council member Kang, a tall blue-skinned being, presented the intelligence reports. These humans defeated the Azurians with inferior technology. They captured Azurian ships intact and have already mastered much of their technology. Are they a threat? Asked another council member. Unknown, Kang replied, but they show remarkable adaptability and unpredictable thinking. Perhaps instead of seeing them as potential enemies, we should consider alliance. The council chamber fell silent as a communication alert sounded. We are receiving a transmission, announced the communications officer. It's coming from an unknown vessel approaching Nivi space. On the main screen, a message appeared, translated into the common galactic language. It was simple but unmistakable in its confidence. Greetings from Earth. We come in peace, but we're prepared for otherwise. The Unity had arrived, and with it, humanity's entry into the galactic community. The species that had been targeted for easy conquest had emerged as a new power, one that would never again be underestimated. The end.